So DIRECTV sent me this little Gemini Air device. A little bit of history about this. DIRECTV sent these out to beta testers several months ago. It had to have been about 6 months ago. And it was supposed to be this private closed beta test, but they chose people, well, who were just participants in other online forums, things like that. And immediately the whole thing leaked out. So this review may seem like it's coming a little late, but this is the official launch of the Gemini Air. And so I, as a DIRECTV dealer, I have to abide by that kind of stuff a little bit more than your average person on the internet. So let's jump in. The Gemini Air itself is about the size of a Chromecast, which makes it much, much smaller than any other device that DIRECTV's ever done. It's specifically designed for the DIRECTV internet service. This will not work with satellite TV. Simple as that. Now, maybe in the future they will adapt one to work with satellite TV, and I kind of hope they do because it's kind of cool. They say that it has better Wi-Fi performance than the previous generation Gemini. It's also smaller. It's just as fast. It's a little hard to put those kind of things to the test because there isn't always an objective way to measure it. So let's dive in and talk about what you get when you get this Gemini. I did this unboxing. I could have done it outside, but I'm recording this in the summer and it was kind of hot, so I decided to do it inside the light box with my Blackmagic Pocket Studio 4K camera. Now, this is a cool camera and it's got great settings for depth of field, but I got this very artsy kind of thing where there's certain parts of it that are in great focus and the rest of it looks very artsy. So I will be superimposing still pictures anytime that I need to get great amounts of detail. Opening this box up, this is designed for self-install, so you do get a nice little setup guide. It's printed on, craft looking paper in white, not necessarily the best for high visibility needs, but that's okay. I think most people will be fine with it. You get a mandatory safety and warranty thing, and this is the unit itself. To the left is the remote. We're going to put that aside for just 1 second, and this is the Gemini Air unit itself. It's really, as you can see, it's really nice and small. Isn't a whole lot to it. On a second layer, you get the power supply. This is a new power supply for DIRECTV, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. That's really all you get. Opening this up, you get the Gemini Air device itself, and you also get this Gemini remote control, which is the same remote control that you get with any other Gemini, and it's also available at Solid Signal if you want to buy a replacement. This is a Bluetooth remote, which is really great because this Gemini Air device is going to sit behind a television. The other thing you get is a new power adapter from DIRECTV. This is a little tiny one, and it says EPS 21, which doesn't mean it puts out 21 volts. It just means that whatever reason they called it a 21. This is DIRECTV's first power adapter to have USB-C as a connector, and it's really just a 5-volt, 1.5 amp USB connector, which pretty much you've probably got a lot of chargers that will already support that. And the truth is that your television may already be putting out enough power to connect the Gemini Air. It's completely up to you if you want to try to connect it to a USB port on your television. If you're asking yourself, how do I know whether or not my television is putting out enough amperage to support this device? Well, you want to get one of these cute little USB power meters from Solid Signal. I'll put the link up in the corner. Let's get back to the Gemini Air for a second. Obviously, there is no way to connect Ethernet to this. This is a purely Wi-Fi device, but that's really not a problem in the marketplace. You see this a lot with things like Chromecast and with Fire Stick and things like that that give you that. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. There isn't a whole lot on it. You get one little tiny reset button and one status light. It'll tell you that it's Dolby Vision and Dolby Auto, and that's all you get. The goal is to provide a basically seamless experience for the DIRECTV internet kind of service. Now, I took a look at this and I did some basic testing of it compared to the previous generation Gemini. It seemed faster. The stopwatch stuff I did, it was a little hard to tell all the time because it's very dependent on internet speeds, but it did look like it worked very well. The setup experience is exactly the same as you find with other Gemini devices, and realistically, if you're familiar with Gemini or even with the DIRECTV stream app for any other streaming box, then you're going to find this works exactly the same. It's a great general purpose replacement for other streaming devices, as it will run apps the same as the larger Gemini will. But keep in mind that it will not run competitors' apps. So it will not run Dish Anywhere, it will not run Sling or YouTube TV. It will not run Hulu with live channels, although it will run regular Hulu. It's a neat little device, and I think that it's great that DIRECTV is going in this direction. It's something that, well, I'll be honest, I proposed to them almost a decade ago, and they told me that it couldn't be done. Perhaps at that time it couldn't, but it's obvious that it could be now. The real big question is where we are going to go with this device. A lot of folks would like to see something like this as a Genie client, just remove one more box from the entertainment center. And I think that that would be very possible. Judging on the performance of the box, which really I could only tell by pushing buttons, it really seemed like about the same amount of power as the other Geminis. So there's no reason that it could not run the DIRECTV client app if they really wanted to. But in the meantime, probably the nicest thing about it is that there's now two different devices. The Gemini Air is for the internet-only service, and the Gemini is for the satellite service. It makes it a lot easier to decide which one you're going to get. Last thing that I want to tell you about this particular Gemini Air is why you should get it from Solid Signal, or why you should get any DIRECTV device from Solid Signal. They're the sponsors of this video, my employers, and I'm really happy to talk about them because not only do you get really better customer service, you get real people who answer the phone when you call, and that's just incredible in today's day and age, but you also get the kind of activation help from real trained experts that you need, as opposed to our overseas call centers, which are great for reading scripts, but as soon as you go off script, there's a problem. One more thing there about Solid Signal is when you support Solid Signal, you're supporting a small local business. We're not that big. Truth is, we're fewer than 100 people, where DIRECTV's got thousands and thousands and thousands of people. When you get something from us, you're supporting local jobs, you're supporting families, and that's something that I think is worth doing. At any rate, get the Gemini Air device from solidsignal.com. You can activate it yourself just using the internet, but if you have any questions about it or you want some help activating, call us at 888-233-7563 and we will walk you through all of it.